Hello and welcome back to NP Table Talk. It's me, Laudia Lala Reyes, and
Christy Alma.
Welcome. And we just wanted to say we're also missing our wonderful Margie, but she'll be with us the next time. And we just wanted to point that out because I do miss my girl. Anyway, we're going to talk about preceptorships, right? Because that was we've been trying to keep up with the feedback we've been getting in the community regarding our podcast and say what else can we talk about. And so I want you guys to keep that coming because we are trying to be receptive with that and kind of incorporate it on, hey, how can we talk about it on the show? And that was one of the things was preceptorships. What do you do during them? How do you get them? Those type of things. And I'm going to be 100% honest. I talk to my students when I come and have them precept with me because we do volunteer as nurse practitioners in training our NPs and our providers going forward for free. So I tell them this is a job interview, and if you don't realize that, you should, because I know with me, every time I went to my preceptorships, when I graduated, they were like, Lala, are you ready? You want to come on board? So almost at every single one of my preceptorships, I did have a job lined up.
But and even if you're not planning on working in that specific field, because we have to do preceptorships, with like women's health, with peds, with this, with some other specialties, but like in the NP world and physician world and in the healthcare world.
Even nursing. I mean,
nursing.
Where were you going to end up? ER, ICU?
But they'll see where you did your preceptorship, and then they might ask that preceptor, hey, I see that they, were with you for a semester. What did you think of that student? And, you don't want them to be like, oh, well, she wasn't really interested and she
because we put it on our CV. We put it on our CV where we train. And so they know, oh, okay, you had training in internal medicine over here, those type of things. And again, that's for nurse practitioners, but even in nursing, if you jive with that unit and you like that unit, that nurse manager is going to be calling you for that job. And so I always try to say every preceptorship, everywhere you're learning, treat it like a job interview. Put your best face forward, because this is where you want to be, right? You want to be in the community with us, and that's something that I hold dearly. And so be active, be proactive. Where can I help you? What should I do next? Okay, I saw this patient. What else should I be doing? What are you working on right now? How can I help that? How can I learn from that? Because when you're engaged with those preceptors, they want to teach you, right? Because I want to share my knowledge. I love teaching the future providers, nurses, everybody else in between, because that is who's going to take care of me. They're going to take care of me. And so I want to share that information. But sometimes I've seen people come to the units and they're just kind of in the corner, and it's okay if that's your personality. And this is why I like this show, where we can kind of give you that advice so that we can say, hey, this is what you could be doing a little bit different to improve on your own skills and everything else in between. I keep saying that term.
And Lala had a funny blood pressure story.
Oh my goodness, yes. Because I am, the more you know me, you know how I am personality-wise. But I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't even know what it is, but I'll volunteer for it. And that's another kind of hint for the students is volunteer for things so that you learn and learn and learn. And when I was in nursing school, my first manual blood pressure, the nurse came on the unit and was like, hey, you want to do manual blood pressure? I'm like, oh, me, I know how to do it. I can do it. And so she goes, okay, go to room, whatever. And I went into the room and it's packed. I'm talking, it's packed. I live in South Texas, so the family's in the room, right? And it's just lying around the bed.
Immediate family's like,
yes. And so it was exactly. And so it was packed and I was like, okay, I can do this. And there I go. And I don't realize this because I'm so nervous about doing the manual blood pressure because we're just learning our skills. And this lady is on hospice. Like she's near the end. And she didn't. It was in the dirt and it just kept kind of going down. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the family's looking at me intensely like, what's going on? What is it? And I was just like, it's horrible, And so I'm like, I walk out and I'm just kind of have to tell the nurse like it's in the toilet. The blood pressure is not good, and but I volunteered, and it was honestly an exposure of something I hadn't been in before, right? Where I'm like, man, these people are about to lose a family member, and again, had I not ever done that, would I have had that opportunity to say, wow, this is a big setting, So it's like, I was so nervous about this manual blood pressure, not reading the room at that time. And you're new, because you're new to the situation. You're not expected to know everything that's going on. And I will stress that. But those opportunities are what you do, because then you talk to the family and you see them and you get to do that nursing care that you do on the side of that.
So I have a funny IV story.
Oh yeah, that's
my first IV ever. This was like, what year?
At least 5 years ago. At least 5 years ago. At least 5 years.
2001, 2002, let's just say. It was a while. And I was so proud of myself. Like, oh, I got it, right? And I call my preceptor and I'm like, I got the IV. And she's like, she goes in the room and she's like, well, it looks very good, Christy. Like you're in the vein and it's very, you didn't leave a lot of blood around it. You dressed it nicely, but it's the wrong way. It's the wrong direction.
Exactly.
It's like, oh my gosh,
But then, did you do it again?
Never.
And again, it's a learning idea, and you learn very quickly how you do things and how you don't do things when you're volunteering in those roles, whether it's nursing, NP, PA, residency, because you're going to learn, even putting leads on. You remember the first time you put EKG leads and looking at the back of the thing, fire over smoke, all those type of things. Yeah. But those type of things, if you're not doing it while you're learning, then you're going to have to do it when you're on the floor.
Yeah, but the lead placement is so important, because it's like you walk
that's
into
like
a room,
and
then I'm like, this EKG does not look right.
Exactly.
And then I go, I'm like, leave the leads on the patient. I go in there, I'm like, well, yeah, why do you have this one over there? Like, it's. Anyway,
but that's what you learn, and that's what I'm saying. The more you do things, the more you're going to learn them. And so, if you're learning in any of those arenas, please, that's the one thing I would say is volunteer. Say, what else can I help with? What are you doing right now? Can I help in any way? Okay, and then the other things are sometimes is we have preceptors or I was volunteering. I had a resident with me, and they're just okay. You're looking at the med rec. He knows what a calcium channel blocker is. He knows what amlodipine is, but he doesn't know the dosages. I never knew the dosages until I got more into it. So when I would say, okay, well, you can have 5 or 10. You want to make sure they know that. I could easily tell them. But I'll say sometimes look it up. Look it up, because when you yourself look it up and read the information yourself, you're going to get better at
You're
that.
much more likely to retain it. And the why, you need to know the why. Why is it this? Why is it that? Why do you not give lisinopril to a hyperkalemic patient? So I'm not going to tell you the why, because you need to look it up.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's little things like that, and then you'll have a much better understanding.
And with the NP preceptors, if you finish your patient and you come back out and we're going through labs, we're going through docs and images, you want to be sitting with us learning that. Well, why did you increase that level on that TSH? Why did you decrease it? Because you already are learning that information in class. You're already learning and being tested on it. It's the application of it in the clinical site that I can't tell you enough, that the more you do it, you're going to get better at it.
And then the clinical picture of the patient matters too.
Exactly.
Also.
Exactly. I'll never forget the first time my preceptor Mark was like, okay, it's lunchtime, and he comes and has me sit next to him at lunch, and he's just like, well, here you go. And he passes me a whole stack of paper, and he goes, I go, well, what's this? And he said, well, these are the labs and docs that we have to go in to and kind of review for the patients. And I was like, huh? And he said, well, Lala, when you see the patients and you're ordering this and that, this is the part that you have to look at after you've ordered it. And so that's where I really felt those puzzle pieces going together. And I can't thank Mark enough for that, because I really was like, wow, thanks. Because now that information I've been learning, I'm actually applying it to all these real life patients. And again, the more you're exposed to that, the more you're going to learn and be a better provider for me.
For our community. Perfect.
Yes.
So
yes.
What's that rule? It's the hour rule to be perfect. It's in the book. Good to Great.
I'm not sure. If it's a philosophy thing, I'm not.
No, it's in a book called Good to Great by Malcolm Gladwell, and there's a rule for there's a certain number of hours before you reach perfection.
Yeah, okay, I get you. That's all right. That's what we do. That's what we do. That's how we learn from each other. So it's always a good thing, again, to ask questions, see what I can do, volunteer, and sit with your preceptor. Ask them, what else can I learn from you? Because that is vital in those roles, or your preceptor on the floor, because they have endless knowledge. And then I want to elaborate a little bit further. In our office setting, you want to be asking the MA, you want to be asking the LVNs, you want to be asking because prior authorization, I was like, what is that? I didn't learn this in school,
They don't teach you stuff like that.
They don't. You know all those other things, but the prior authorization is something that they do a lot of. Like peer to peer.
2 midnights.
Exactly.
3 midnights.
Exactly. And so everybody on that team is important. So learn as much as you can from every single one of them, because they are value members of the team that help things get done for that patient. And they'll tell you, don't forget to document X, Y, and Z for this Manjaro or GLP-1 or whatever you're going to be putting on the patient, or even
because they've already had those declines.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you don't want the last thing you want to do is spend an hour on the phone waiting to talk to like an insurance agent to request again for this patient's medication or for their hospital stay. I've had to do peer-to-peers because then they don't want to pay for the hospital stay. And I'm like, really? Like, she broke her hip?
Yeah.
How are they denying this
It's
hospital
amazing.
stay? Oh, it's because, you know what? They just didn't get faxed the very first H&P at the first facility they were at before they got transferred to us. So it's actually sometimes very simple, but there's like...
knowing what to document in those things. MRIs, making sure MRIs don't get declined, making sure CTs don't get declined. And your preceptor will tell you, but I'll tell you, the people filling out those things are right hands, and don't always respect everybody on that team, because you're going to get that right information for those patients to expedite that care. And
it does take a team.
It does. Everything. I can't do everything by myself. I
thought you could.
Now you're just talking to No, so yeah, but we are all team in healthcare. You have to be the team, and always appreciate everybody on that team. But
oh man, I was having so much fun.
I know.
Okay. We're getting close out of time, so I'll let Lala read you the little disclaimer thing. In the meantime, I can tell you, follow us on Facebook at NP Table Talk, or you can email us at nptabletalk@gmail.com. And then we recently also added this to Spotify for podcasters, and as well Podbean, and it's all NP Table Talk. So follow us on any of those platforms.
Right? We have them.
And the YouTube, sorry.
Yeah.
But in all the platforms, it's NP Table Talk.
Yes. And so, again, we like to talk. So we always are sharing some information. So let me go ahead and say the content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. So please follow up with your PCP or anybody that you think you need to.
Yeah. So until next time.
Thank you.